to record this. Okay, good. That first part didn't even matter for the recording part. Okay, so who here has ever worked a job where they said things like, leave your personal life at home and come to work and do your job? People have worked that work. That is probably one of the biggest phrases that drive me the absolute most crazy in the world, because the way you are at home is the way you are at your job. You can fake your life for a little bit, but you cannot do it for a very long time. So when we talk about committing to self-mastery, or talking about committing to all these things, this has absolutely nothing to do with letting me down, letting any of the other trainers down, letting down KWRC, letting down anybody. Remember, this is your life and your business. Who here fancies themselves an honest person that keeps their word? Okay. If you make a commitment to what we talk about here in Ignite, and you make the choice not to follow that commitment, can you still say you keep your word? And now I get life is going to come up. We're not talking about like, oh my goodness, my kid just decided to chase a butterfly and ran out onto the middle of the road. So now I got to take her to the hospital. My kid's 2.5, by the way. You'll hear me talk about her a lot because she's absolutely crazy, but adorable. And also Asian. So I make fun of her for being Asian all the time. So I apologize in advance if that offends you too. But if she drives in the middle of the road, we're not talking about that sort of life. But I mean, like, okay, if you had, let's say it's 12:55 and somebody calls you up and says, listen, who can I pick on? Danielle, I'm going to pick on you because I see you on Facebook all the time. So I feel like we're emotionally connected. If someone called you up, Danielle, and said, hey, I need you to come list my house. It's worth 1.5 million, but I need you here by 1:15. Otherwise, I have to call someone else. And you have Ignite at 1. What do you do?
I probably go.
Okay, cool. I'd probably go too, to be honest. It's a lot of money. But I want to be very clear about who you are as an individual if you take that. You basically have a choice between furthering education for a full career or making a quick paycheck, right? And this is how I balance out all my decisions in life now. Your life, whenever you are faced with two decisions of what you want to do, it's either going to be A is what I have that takes priority over B. Okay. Now that's okay, whatever that decision is. I'm not here to judge that decision. I'm just here to let you know that that's how you're going to tell who you really are as a person. Okay. So arrive on time. Arriving, I can tell you, I taught Ignite for like 3 years with my old brokerage. It drives me bonkers when people don't arrive on time. They're a little bit more strict here than we were at our other place, but I do want to let you guys know, if you're unable to arrive on time, then there's probably a very good chance you might not be in the industry within 6 months to a year. Because if you're late to this class, it probably means you're going to be late to your lead generation. If you're late to your lead generation, it probably means you're going to be late to your appointments. Now, again, you have all the great excuses in the world. Sure, we all can, but this is time blocking. Be prepared. We are going to have homework. We are going to have, make sure you have your laptop. Please, please have your laptops. Can anybody quickly tell me what year is it this year? Just quickly, anybody?
2022.
Exactly. We all have laptops in 2022. So please bring your laptops. Your cell phone does not work for a great database management system. Laptop. For your homework, complete all your contacts, your notes, make sure you watch all your videos, and come with an open mindset to learn. I always get challenged with this idea of an open mindset. I have been doing this for a while now. I have some pretty concrete opinions, but I do want to let you know that there's no opinion of mine that I ever actually fully take as fact. That's a lie. There's like one or two, but for the vast majority, there's no opinion of mine that I ever totally take as fact. Everything is a fluid conversation, right? And just because an idea that you may have today may not be the best time in your career to do it, does not mean it's a bad idea. I'll give you an example. A lot of people come in this industry wanting to focus on websites, business cards, their design, their logos, and everything else. Those are great things to focus on, just not when you start. When you start, you're going to keep me here saying lead generation, lead generation, lead generation. Remember my story about 9 months going off one deal that was a referral? Guess what I focused on for those 9 months? Everything but lead generation. So I'm just telling you from experience in that that's how, just telling you from experience that that's the number one thing to focus on. Keep an open mind to that. All right, this might be the first thing to write down. 10 contacts a day, 10 people to your database, 10 handwritten notes, and 10 properties previewed a week. And then you're going to report these daily numbers or these numbers too. Okay, so I quickly want to go through that. 10 contacts a day. 10 contacts a day is simple as this. If you want to go out door knocking, I go knocking on a door and someone's like, hello, I'm Nathan from Keller Williams RC, KWRC. And they say, don't talk to me. And they slam the door on my face. That's a contact. I engaged somebody in a conversation regarding real estate. The outcome of that conversation does not matter for me to make a contact. Okay. Now, I'm going to go off 20 contacts a day because that's what Bull taught me. Our expectation is 10, but I only know the numbers off 20 off the top of my head. So if you get 20 contacts a day, that's going to be 100 contacts a week. Okay. Out of those 100 contacts a week, you will get 7 to 8 leads. 7 to 8 people will put up their hand and say, yes, I would like to buy or sell real estate within the next 3 months, 6 months to a year, depending on the type of lead generation you're doing. Okay. So obviously it's half of that. 10 contacts a week would be, or 10 contacts a day would be 50 a week. And that 50 a week, which means you're probably going to get 2 to 3 people put up their hand for that. Now, anybody who's really good at math, very quickly, if you did 2 good leads a week, how many is that a month approximately? 8. And how many of that is a year then? As I'm doing the math in my head.
104.
Okay.
52 times 2.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's even better. 52 times 2 is 104 a year. If you ended up getting 104 leads a year, 104 people saying, I'm willing to talk to you about real estate, even if you're new, how many of those 104 do you think you could convert?
I think if you did 20%, you'd be doing pretty good.
Yeah. Do you want to even go 10% for fun? Let's say you only converted 10% of them. So let's say that's what, 11, 12. So that's a deal a month. What's your average commission right now? Average sale point? Average sales probably roughly, I don't know, 800 to $1 million. So let's just say 800,000. I always like to use low numbers. If you converted 10 people at 800,000, that's $20,000 a deal. That's $200,000 a year. 220 if you convert 11. Okay. 2 contacts or 10 contacts a day means you speak with 10 people. Number 2, you want to add 10 people to your database. Now, this could also be a little bit of a difference when you're starting out new. This is where you're going to use your network of people around you. As you build your database, you're going to be thinking, it doesn't necessarily mean today you're reaching out to them. They can be your call for contacts, by the way, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're reaching out to them. But this is going to be like not just your family and friends. If your kids are in sports, you get the mothers in the sports group. This is your hairdressers. This is your church group. This is your social events. By the way, this is another one of those things that makes life very challenging. I lead generate in a really fun way. I play a lot of pool. I play a lot of golf. I drink a lot of beer and I eat a lot of chicken wings. That's how I lead generate and I do very well at it. I'm very social. If you are a social person, find social activities to engage in. But either way, every single day you want to add 10 people to your database. On average, every person knows roughly 150 people. Like if you actually looked out at your entire world, you would know roughly 150 people. And those people that they know 150 people. And just for fun fact, out of every 100 people you know, there's at least 2 sales within that. Usually a buy and a sell within every 100 people of just actively going, not even going about referrals. Okay. So you want to add 10 people to your database. As you talk to those 10 contacts or those 10 people you add, you also want to write handwritten notes to those people. And that's something just simply to say, hey, I've gotten so much business off this, by the way. Every open house I did, right after the open house, I take every lead and say, hey, so-and-so, hey, Natalie, it was fantastic meeting you at the open house. I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming through and spending some time and chatting. Let me know if you have any questions. Okay. Sorry, I just lost track of something. Those 10 handwritten notes are so good. Who here usually gets handwritten notes in the mail? Who here gets bills in the mail? Yeah. Does anybody remember the last time they actually got a handwritten note that actually wasn't trying to sell them something? Yeah, it feels really good just to get that handwritten note. The next part is previewing 10 homes a day. I don't know. Someone told me they didn't know you could do this. You guys can do this. Do you guys know you can call up listings and just say, I want to preview, do an agent preview of the property, and then go for a showing and go look at it? Did you guys know you could do that? Yes, no, maybe. Okay. I want to give you guys a really, really quick story. I actually got a listing out of just previewing homes. So I was previewing homes. I did it every day when I was going through Ignite. And then about 6 months into a year in, I was getting my hair cut. And I got chatting with the hairdresser about how I sold real estate. And she was like, oh, I live on Fenwick. This is in Bowmanville. I'm like, by the way, I previewed this home like 8 months before this. And I said, I remember Fenwick. They had this awesome house sell on Fenwick. And she was like, that was my neighbor's house. I'm like, that is absolutely awesome. That engagement was enough to get me the listing appointment and the listing. So preview homes. Here's the other thing. I don't know the new market that well. It doesn't really matter on that point. But on average, and again, just put up your hands. If I were to ask you, 2,200 square foot, 4-bedroom home, en suite, that's roughly 15 years old. Who can give me the price within 20 grand? Okay, exactly.
Where it is.
This is why, sorry, what was that, Jim?
I say it depends where it is.
Well, yeah. So in your market, that's the one thing you need to know. You guys are all real estate professionals. That is how you're going to be viewed. This is information you want to pull up fairly quickly. I can tell you right now that, like, I can tell you in my market, in Durham region, especially Clarington and Oshawa, what almost anything across the board goes for if they ask me, just off my cusp, right? So you preview homes so you know what the homes are or what they're worth. Here's something else too, by the way. If you ever get a chance to preview a home inspection, do that for sure. But when I first got in the industry, I joke not, I didn't know what a 2-story home was. I'm not really always a smart guy. Honestly, had no clue what a bungalow was, what a 2-story home was. I knew none of that. Previewing homes helps you get to know what all the different features are, all the different things people have done to the property, again, to talk about it intellectually. Now, just quickly, Jenna, I see you have your hand up. Was that on purpose, or did you have a question?
Yeah, sorry, I'm
Yeah.
just taking notes. Just a little bit off topic. The 10 handwritten letters, is that weekly or monthly?
Oh, that's daily. That's to those 10
Okay.
contacts. Yeah, those 10 people you added to your database, or those 10 contacts that you made, like all those good conversations, you want to do that daily.
Got it. Thank you.
Sorry, no problem. I apologize too. If I miss a hand up, put it in the chat or just unmute and yell at me. Okay. Wow, this stuff's so funny. Okay, attend classes. Monday through Thursday, when Ignite starts from 9 to 11, we're going to have a lead generation time. That is the time what we're going to protect. Again, if someone here made like 300 grand next year, would that be like really awesome? I want to let you know this, by the way, like this is numbers, tied, tested, and true. If you get your 20 contacts a day, like if you actually do the lead generation from 9 to 11, and you do all this stuff, you'll make more money than you'll even believe. Like you'll be able to take whatever goal you make and double it easily. Okay, so anyways, attend the lead generation through Zoom calls. Unless it's door knocking, then you want to make sure you report your numbers. Now, just want to give you guys a little bit of hint about stuff. I've been doing this long enough that when people are like, oh no, I was out door knocking, there's a difference in the type of questions you get asked when people were actually outdoor knocking or just said they were outdoor knocking. It's a pretty hard thing, especially on a consistent basis, to fake. So like, you'll be like, okay, I'm going to lie about door knocking and not really do it, but I don't want to get in trouble. So I'm just going to come in and just say, oh, yeah, no, I have no questions. And then someone else will be like, okay, I was door knocking and this happened, and this happened. It is crazy world of door knocking. Like it'll come up with stuff. So I really want to encourage you, please, if you're going to do it. If you're not going to do it, just be honest about it, because it's pretty easy to tell typically. Yes. So scripting. Who here likes scripting? We're going to talk about scripting today. Who here is scripting right now? All right, sorry, Danielle, question.
Yeah,
Actually, say
sorry,
that.
just back on the like door knocking thing. Are we allowed to be outdoor knocking right now with the restrictions? Because I got an email from Rico saying like any in-person was like big no.
Yeah, we did it yesterday. Yeah, I don't know your comfortability level. I haven't.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much okay. Unless it very points it out nicely for me, like unless I get an email saying don't, like if for example we got saying something saying no open houses. Did you guys get that email? Okay, so I'm
Yeah.
not going to do an open house. I'm not going to try to skirt that one. It didn't say no door knocking, right? I would obviously wear a mask the whole time. And when they answer the door, I'd always take a step back from the door and things like that. But yeah, no, that's, we're door knocking still until we get the thing saying no.
Okay.
That's your comfort level too. Okay.
Okay.
Alrighty. Does everybody know that raise hand option that people are using, by the way? Like there's a thing in here that allows you to raise your hand. So I don't know where though. It's there. Look around it while we're doing something. There you go. Ed.
Reactions.
Perfect.
Oh,
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. So if you have a question, you can raise your hand that way too. Every Friday, I'm trying to get through this. So I want to get to the fun part of this whole conversation. So this is all the boring stuff. So scripting, yeah, start scripting. We're going to talk about scripting today. Scripting is an absolute blast. I want to be very clear again too. Here I am talking and I'm kind of free flowing and I've scripted a lot. I had a script partner for 7 to 8 months, my second year in the industry. We met every morning for at least an hour and scripted. So I'm a very well scripted individual and I still script. I was on a scripting call this morning. The very first time I ever scripted, I swear a little bit too, so I apologize. I shit you not. The very first time that I actually started scripting, I had to go through, I had a script in front of me. And I was so nervous to role play with my coach in front of 2 or 3 other people. Like it was, I was like, my stomach was tightening. I could barely breathe. All of a sudden, it was like almost like I was going on a date with a girl for the first time who I thought was really, really cute. All of a sudden, I couldn't speak. It was like a horrendous thing. You can get over that. I want to let you know if you feel nervous in whatever you do, you can get over it and it can become free flowing. It is a skill set. It is not a ability. It is a skill that you can practice and hone. We report numbers every Friday. Yep. Oh, I'm going to mess up this name. Paula?
Yeah, you messed it up.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. I'm used to it. My name's Paula, but yeah, it's okay. I know it's spelled weird and different.
Paula.
So,
All right. I think I got that.
It's okay. I do have a question. It might be like a little bit silly, but I just don't know. So going back to a little bit before when we were talking about previewing homes.
Mhm.
We can do that, right? Even though like open houses are banned as of now.
Yes.
Like I can still, okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what I do is I just usually call up the brokerage or I book it online. It doesn't take long to preview a home. I can get through a home in about 5 minutes, if that. So I try to use the least amount of time because they usually don't allow multiple showings as of right now. So you want to be respectful to their time. But yeah, you can just go ahead online and book it. You're good to do that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. All right. Be engaged. Yeah, please be engaged. Ask questions. They're super fun. Let's see. No cell phones on if you can. Like we want this to be learning time and working time. Be respectful. Okay, yeah, this one's really good. Okay, we're gonna talk about having fun and all the rest. Yeah, this is gonna be an absolute blast. Who doesn't love school? This is definitely 100% a no judgment area. I guarantee you that there's not a super silly question that you can ask me. I've been asked almost anything. Almost all these trainers have. It's also very much a no judgment area. We are all in different places in our business, and some people understand something and some people don't. And sometimes we think something is super simple, but it really isn't as simple as we thought it was back when. Remember, learning is progressional. You start from here, you go to here, you go to here. Everybody follows the same steps of learning in almost every pathway. Some people might do it faster than others, but it's still the same steps. At one point, you did not know what this person does not know. So it's open judgment. The other thing too, it's 100% confidential in here. We have a lot of people in here, so I highly doubt we're going to go into super crazy stories that we have to keep confidential, but let's keep it all confidential and respectful. I will share with you guys my mistakes and you are more than welcome to laugh at them because I've made a ton of mistakes in this industry. But don't laugh at other people when they make mistakes unless they're laughing, then just have fun with it, but be respectful, keep it honest and keep it private. All right. The last part is is everybody reading the MREA book right now, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent? Okay. Sorry, Tadaz, what's up? Before we get up to that.
No, I was just raising my hand to say I am reading it too.
Oh, okay,
That's all.
cool. Perfect. Okay, so if you are not reading it, please start reading it. if there was ever a playbook to real estate, that is the playbook. It is literally, well, one of the things that really shocked me about real estate is I thought it was this really cool career that we always got to be so creative and everything. And then I get into it, and I'm like, dang, man, this is boring. I just lead generate, show homes, and negotiate homes, lead generate, whatever. Like, it's not flashy. I thought it would be. It is not flashy. If you want it to be flashy, you're just going to be really, really poor. If you follow the MREA, which is not flashy, you'll be very, very wealthy, not just in a financial sense, but in a family sense. So please, if you don't have a copy, go. I think we have copies at the front desk. You can put it on your office bill. If anybody here speaks French, I have 2 French copies that I accidentally ordered from Amazon, which I'm more than welcome to give away. So, okay. Before we jump into that, is there any questions before we actually move on to what we're going to be talking about for the next hour and a half-ish? All right, perfect. Okay, so we're going to start talking about the 6 personal perspectives. I'm going to try something here. I'm a whiteboard guy. Like, one of the things I love about in-person stuff is to use whiteboards. Can everybody see the screen I'm sharing? It should look like, I don't know, lava going into something.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Just want to make sure this goes in. All I'm doing is bringing up my whiteboard. So you guys can see what I have going on. I was just kind of taking notes what's going on. I've never used this tech before, so bear with me as I use it. And if you're wondering why I'm not looking at the camera, it's because it's on my second screen here. Okay, that's super weird. Sorry, I'm just going to pull this up a little bit more. Okay, so the first part of commit, or we call it, what are we calling this now? The 6 personal perspectives. This is, by the way, a full day course. So this is like a very, very quick rundown to self. Commitment to self-mastery. Number 1, know your goals. Oh, that was trippy. Okay, I should never do this on an iPad again. This is too weird. Okay, so by a raise of hand, who here has set goals? All right, who here actually likes setting goals? Is anybody intimidated by setting goals? All right, okay, so I'm going to be very alone in this. I hate goal setting. I really do. So I have a little bit of a different mindset than a lot of people. Oh, sorry, there's questions asked. I have a little bit of a mindset than a lot of different people. When it comes to currently living right now, one thing I love about real estate is if you're not in real estate, you're trapped almost in life. Like, you are literally, you're trapped by hours, you're trapped by a job, you're trapped by all these things. And I'm a big fan of freedom. I do not like living in prisons. And you'll hear me probably reference this a bit today on different things. I do not like living in a prison. Goal setting is sometimes actually just living in another prison, but one in the future, right? So for example, let's say you set a goal to sell 20 homes this year, and come September, you've only sold 6. The prison that you might be giving yourself into is one of not achieving that and then feeling absolutely horrible. Like, it takes away your freedom. Does this make sense to anybody? So there's a phrase I want to really throw out there when it comes to goal setting. And this is going to be like shift away from goals. This will apply to a lot of things, but I heard a really good phrase. Do not compare yourself to somebody else today. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday. Okay. This is absolutely important. Again, as we go through this, I've taught this so many times. There are some people that are going to excel, and there will be a little bit of jelliness, and you'll be like, oh man, how come I'm not doing as well as them? Don't compare yourself to that person. You don't know their life. You don't know their circumstances. Maybe they have more free time. Maybe, dude, one of the biggest individual agents, I would never, ever want his life. He sells 76 homes a year without it, well, with a part-time administrator and no help. I love my wife and kid way too much to do that, right? I'm a giant kid myself, so I love video games way too much to do that. don't let that trap you. Now, I want to kind of put this shift on goals. I look at goals more as chartered pathways. Okay, so goals are great to turn around and say, I want to sell 24 homes this year because that's 2 a month. I want to sell 24 homes this year. You now have a pathway. You now have a destination to head to, right? Now, I look at this destination more being on the water, right? You are navigating through the water to every checkpoint. You want to figure out what you want to do monthly. Every time that you kind of go somewhere, you want to re-navigate. And then maybe at some point you realize you're going to massively exceed that goal, or maybe you're not going to achieve that goal, and you're going to recalculate that goal and figure out the best way to get there, right? That way you're not trapped by the future, and you keep an open mindset to all that goes on. Again, I am not discouraging goal setting, because there's another one of my favorite phrases. This is actually one I made up myself. So if you actually put quotations, you put Nathan Graham beside it. I am nothing but the captain of my leaf on the Amazon River. I just want to picture that for a minute sometimes when it comes to goal setting. That is the way real estate is. You are on a leaf going down the Amazon River, and you are the captain of that leaf. How much direction sometimes do you think you can give it? Not a whole lot. So sometimes we set ourselves into goals in the future too, you want to make sure when we talk about them being achievable, we want to make sure they are achievable, but don't beat yourself up over them. They are not an end of a destination. They are just another checkpoint going towards something bigger. And that something bigger, which we're going to dive into, is going to be called the big why. So number 1, know your goals. Number 2, know your strengths and weaknesses. Before I carry on, does anybody have any questions about goals? All right, cool. Okay, this is one of my other favorite ones. Know your strengths and weaknesses. Who here is married or in a long-term committed relationship? All right, I'm gonna love this one. One of my strengths is working way too much. One of my strengths is shoveling the driveway. One of my strengths is mowing the lawn. One of my strengths is doing heavy lifting. I know I'm extremely sexist when it comes to this. One of my strengths is not folding laundry. I am very, very bad at it. Like I try hard. I've even actually watched tutorials, no joke, on YouTube on how to do it. I am not good at it. To save my marriage, my wife and I eventually had a very candid conversation of if she wants laundry folded a certain way and done a certain proper way, I am not the guy to do it. And if anything, I'll hire someone else to do it before that. I use that semi as a joke, but this is the same thing in real estate. You are going to, okay, you have a lot of jobs in real estate. You're a lead generator. You're a showing assistant. You're a buyer's agent. You're a seller's agent. You are a administrator. You're a deal secretary. You are, oh man, you're your marketing guru. You are your social media guru, all these things. Know what you're good at and own and keep what you're good at. Get successful to the point where you can quickly leverage out what you are not good at. Does that make sense? The second part that kind of goes with that is also know that in lead generation. I'm not a cold caller. I've done it. I did it for like 6 months to a year. I've had relative okay success through it, I guess. I don't know. But it's not a life I want. I do not want a life of cold calling. I'm a guy who loves to go out and socialize. That is something I excel at. So when I look at how I'm going to build my business, and we are going to talk a little bit about the different types of lead generation, but focus on the lead generation that you are actually good at. Now, I want to put a caveat in this. There's a lot of things we're good at. Like, for example, I am good at golf. So I'm going to try and say, well, sorry, let me rephrase that. I am not good at golf. I'm horrendous at golf. I'm really bad at golf, but I'm really good at drinking on the golf course with other people. That's what I'm very, very good at. So I could turn around and say, well, I'm going to make golf my my form of lead generation or social outings. It's a possible thing. I've done it, but you have to treat it like a business. You can only golf with 3 people at a time. Do you think I can get my 20 contacts on a golf course every day? Not a chance. Even I can't golf that much, right? So when I say find that niche of lead generation, you have to still abide by the principles. If your niche of lead generation isn't allowing you to get your 20 contacts a day, then you need to supplement that with something that will. And that might mean getting uncomfortable. So as an example, who here likes cold calling? Actually, well, see, let me back up. Who here likes open houses? Who here wants to build a business off open houses? Okay. What about off of cold calling? One. Sarah, we are going to be good friends. Tanaz, we're already friends. What about door knocking? Okay. What do you think happens when open houses are now shut down and they do put out a notice saying we're not allowed to door knock? If you don't want, if those are two of your building blocks, what are you going to do to lead generate? This is an idea behind, you have to know your strengths, but you'll also have to get comfortable with the uncomfortable, right? Any questions about that? Last quick thing to that, by the way, there's a lot of things that are, the third thing, by the way, is know how to work with both your strengths and weaknesses and seek a master of knowledge. So that's another thing too, by the way. If you don't know social media, for example, find people who are great at social media, take the courses, learn how to do it, and then just do exactly what they do. We're going to talk about this more with scripting, but when you get a good system, just do the system. Don't change it. Don't adjust it. I'm going to say this snarkily. Don't make it your own, especially with scripts. Everybody's like, well, I want to know a good script and then I'm going to make it my own. No, I mean this nicely. Your scripts suck. The reason why you're not making $1 million a year is because you do not have good scripts, right? Now, you can internalize the script. Once you memorize the script, then it can adjust to be a little bit of your personality showing through, but get to that point first. So we're going to do that the same with all form of lead generation. Any questions about that?
Yeah, I have a question about the scripts actually.
Yeah.
So I've seen a lot of, like, in the resource folder, in our KWRC folder, in different places, there's a ton of scripts. Can you recommend a systematic procedure of which ones to start with and how to, go through them systematically? Like, do you have, or you just grab whatever scenario there is and just memorize it?
So that's a good question, actually, because there are a lot of scripts. Have you guys seen the 3 script books that KW puts out, the listing, sellers, and lead generation one?
It's on the resources folder, I think, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is where you start. Number one, start with your lead generation folder or lead generation scripts, number one, because what's your number one job? Lead generation. More importantly, you might know your listing appointment down pat, but is that any good if you can't get the appointment? Not at all. So start with your lead gen. The way we started, so those are the scripts that I actually went through with the guy I was telling you I scripted for 7 months, John Cahias. John and I started in that book and we found a section of what we were doing and what we wanted to do for lead gen. So we actually started in the open house section. We looked at the door knocking and the cold calling section. And then after we kind of went through and got those scripts down, then we pretty much actually opened up the book at page 1 and just started going through them all. And then when we found one we really, really connected with, we would memorize that one. We would stop there and just memorize that for like 2 or 3 days and just do it back and forth.
And which book was this?
It was there's Keller Williams actually has through Connect. Here, let me pull something up here 1 second.
Through Connect. Hold on, let me check.
I don't, you guys can only still see the whiteboard, right? I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I'm a massive geek, so you'll see all my video game websites if you actually see my browser. Nothing weird or anything, but you know what? I'll show it this way. Okay, can you guys see my web browser?
And how did you find your scripting partner?
We just asked, like, I put it out to the company. He put up his hand. Like, I knew him because I know people in the company, but eventually I just asked who's serious about scripting. So, for example, by the time we're done in here, we're going to have a section on scripting today. But by the time we're done in here, if you want a script, like, find a partner. Okay, so in the top left-hand corner, you'll see connect there.
Okay.
This always takes
If
longer.
anyone wants to practice, just message or call me. I don't mind doing it a half an hour to an hour a day.
On the right-hand side, there's KW Connect. We might even, by the way, I'm going to share with you, I'm going to share with you my Discord server, which I'm going to start putting more scripts into. And it's in the search part. I don't know why I'm pointing, as if you guys can see what I'm pointing to. At the top right-hand corner, there's a search. I'm just going to type scripts. Here you go. KW script catalog, working with buyers, working with sellers, and there is a third one working with for lead generation. Why do I have to purchase it? I don't think I have to. You know what? I'm going to put it, I'm going to find out how to put these into my Discord server for agents, and then you guys can just grab them from there.
So is KW Connect the same as the Command Connect?
Yeah. So like in your Command Connect, and then in this right-hand corner, there's
I don't see
KW
a
Connect.
search area here. The way you searched.
So I just, I went, I clicked.
Okay, gotcha. That's
and
fine.
then,
I gotcha.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, actually, I really want to get to the scripting part. So we'll shelve that scripting, the rest of the scripting portion, until we actually get into the class today. Okay.
All right.
All right, perfect. And we'll try to get there by your ultrasound appointment. Congratulations, by the way. Okay, step 2, the 80-20 principle. This is another quick conversation. Oh, what the heck was that? Oh, yeah. Wow. I hate the iPad sometimes. Okay. Oh, I'm going to mess up the dude's name. The 80-20 principle, it had to do the Pablo, I don't know, some Italian dude or French dude or something like that. He started noticing this thing in society called the 80-20 principle, where, for example, 80% of the wealth was held by 20% of the people. Dude, you guys are going to hear so much about this that I'm not even going to fully dive into it, other than the fact that this does relate to real estate. So the other thing that you guys have to start doing, well, you don't have to start doing anything. The other thing that at Pareto, thank you very much, Pareto, you're going to find that 20% or 80% of your results is going to come from 20% of your work. And this is why tracking is so important in your business. So for example, you might be doing cold calling, you might be doing door knocking, and then maybe you're doing this thing like I used to do. Like I was in a pool league, so I shot billiards. We won a few trips to Vegas, and I would always go and I would do things like buy drinks and everything else like that. I would invest money into that, and it was fun. But I actually tracked my numbers, it took a long time for that to start producing results. So like that was like a 3-4 year plan. If I were to look at my 80-20 principle, well over 80% of my businesses came from open houses and came from door knocking, and almost nothing came from cold calling. So as I was trying out these lead generation, and when I mean trying out, I mean spending 6 months on, I don't mean trying out for a couple of days and being like, oh, that sucked, I'm done. I mean trying out for 6 months. I tracked my numbers, and then when I found out that 80% was coming from open houses and door knocking, I just cut cold calling right out of it, and I went right into door knocking and open houses. Okay. Social media, I'm pretty sure if I ask almost anybody that's anybody, they're like, yeah, I want to start a business out of social media. It's completely possible, but it's a very hard thing to do. If you're going to do that, especially if you're going to invest numbers into it, make sure that you track those numbers, that it's actually reduced, or track that money that is producing results. Super quick question. Any questions about the E2P principle? That one's just a nice quick one. All right. I do not know why this doesn't work. Okay, option 3. This is going from E to P. So when we talk about moving from E to P, we're talking about moving from entrepreneurial to purposeful. Okay. So what I have here is, number 1, high achievers. High achievers are always looking to be purposeful. By doing this, they break through their natural ceiling. When we talk about our natural ceiling is, okay, this is kind of where you start here. And you're going to do really well. And then you're going to hit this point where you don't do well, and you're going to bounce off that point, and then your business will start going down. By the way, this is the way real estate works. Just quickly as this E to P, this is the way your business goes. It goes really good. You're like, yeah, I made the right decision. I stopped lead generating. And then you're like, oh, no, my life sucks. Maybe I should go to Future Shop. No, but I'll start working again. Yeah, lead gen. Oh, this is the best thing in the world. Oh no, will I ever do another deal again? And this is lead generation if you stop, if you don't become purposeful in what you do. right? It is a constant emotional roller coaster. Okay, so going A to P. Who here has seen the first Men in Black? Oh my goodness, am I this old now? Okay. Who here does not know what Men in Black is as a movie? Okay, Nilu, you have to watch Men in Black. It's great. Oh my goodness, Tanaz, how are we even friends? Anyways, okay. So Men in Black is about Will Smith, who used to be a police officer, and he ends up hunting aliens, a part of this secret organization called Men in Black. And they had this really, really cool scene in it, right? So they're trying to get new Men in Black recruits, and Will Smith is like, he was extraordinary. He outdid everybody. He chased down this really hard alien to chase down. He had no idea it was an alien and all the rest. And they finally bring him in to recruit him, and they're going to the elevator. If you've seen the movie, you might remember this. Will Smith is talking to Tommy Lee Jones, and they come up into the elevator, and he's like, okay, listen, man, you recruited me because of my skills. So I don't want no pet, I'm not saying this properly, but I don't want pet nicknames. I don't want to be called Junior, none of this. You recruited me because of my skills, right? And then the elevator drops down to this point, and it opens up this entire world of aliens. And Tommy Lee Jones basically said something along the lines of, yes, we recruited because of your skills, but right now your skills don't mean shit, right? I love that time in the movie because Will Smith was at the top of his game. He was at the best. He was here at this achievement ceiling, and that's why they recruited him. But instead of learning, he got cocky. Then he all of a sudden got a new point of education, which opened up his eyes to a whole new world that wasn't even around him. When you are purposeful, this is why education and open-mindedness is so, so important. Because without it, you don't know your own world. So you're going to kind of go up to this achievement ceiling, and then you're going to bounce off of it. Your deals are going to disclose or go down a little bit. And then this is where you're going to get education. Or you're going to bring something new on, and you're going to bust through the ceiling. The crappy part, though, is there's going to be another ceiling. And then once you hit that ceiling, you're going to bounce off a bit, and then you're going to introduce something new, and you're going to bust through it. I'm going to give you guys an example of real life, how this happened in my life. So I first got in the industry. I used to only make $30,000 a year. So my first ceiling that I hit is I started making $100 grand a year, right? Well, it was under that. It was like 70-ish because 100 was hard to make back in the day. It was like 70-ish thousand dollars. And then I hit the ceiling and I started failing. So I decided to join a team. And I did. And that team brought me through to the next ceiling because I learned a whole lot. I learned all these other things. But that only brought me to roughly around I went from about 70 to about 100, 110, give or take. Right. And I left the team because teams were not exactly where I wanted to be. And that's a bigger conversation for another day. So then, but I took from what I learned from the team and I branched out on my own, which helped me break through another ceiling. But then that ceiling only got so far. And about a year later, I was still stuck again back in the ceiling. So then I introduced coaching. I had got a MAPS coach. I've coached with Buffini. I introduced a bunch of coaching, which helped me break through the next ceiling, so on and so forth. We don't know what's going to bring us through the next ceiling, but I can tell you is when you get stuck on that point of achievement, that is going to be a new ceiling to break through, and you introduce something new. And then if you're sitting there, like maybe after a few years, you're like, okay, well, I'm kind of stuck in my business. By the way, if I talk about making like bigger money, if I'm like $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, we're all like, that sounds like a really good amount of money. But the reality is, trust me, you will get complacent. That's what real estate does. You want to achieve, you want to strive for that next level. You need to add something new to your career. Okay, so that's what it means about the breaking through the ceiling and being absolutely learning based. Here's the other thing. I want you guys to remove your limiting beliefs. Now, this is absolutely completely impossible. We talk about it like it is a real thing, but the reality is humans have limits. If you ever want proof of that, go jump off your roof and see how far you can fly on your own with no help, right? We remove limiting beliefs by getting help. You start doing that with a parachute, you start doing that with something else, all of a sudden you now have an ability, maybe not fly, but maybe you're now gliding. Maybe all of a sudden you get a machine and hover cars, which are so coming soon, and now you are flying. We're talking about the idea about removing limiting beliefs. Again, I just quickly want to share with you my own story. I like sharing my story because I just think it's a really weird one. I had a lot of limiting beliefs growing up. I blame the whole world for my problems. Fun fact, I did not graduate high school. It didn't happen. I did not graduate college. It didn't happen. I got fired from more jobs because of my skills that they didn't respect than I actually ever ended up keeping. And I've done like almost every line of work. I had a lot of limiting beliefs. And then I got into real estate and I still had a lot of limiting beliefs. I was driven by ego And those limiting beliefs were holding me back of what I'd be able to do. And ego has a way of keeping those limiting beliefs in place. And I love my dad dearly. I love him so much. I got my limiting beliefs from him though. And my mentor was Jason Adams. He knew Jason. And my dad and I was very frustrated in real estate. My dad and I had a conversation, and my dad said, like, first time he ever said this to me, he goes, son, I think you're where you need to be in life. And I'm like blown away. I'm like, oh, my dad approves of me, right? No daddy issues at all. My dad approves of me, right? And he goes, I think you're going to do really, really well in real estate. You might not do Jason Adams well, but you are going to do really, really well. Now, I love my dad dearly. He was just trying to protect me. That's all he was trying to do. And that was his mindset at the time. It was still a limiting belief, right? My big drive right now is straight up curiosity. When people ask me my big why, is straight up curiosity, because I've already exceeded everything that teachers and parents and everybody else thought they were going to do with me. And I have no idea how much farther I can go, right? I still have limiting beliefs today because I don't know what I'm able to achieve. I don't know what that future is going to hold, but get rid of limiting beliefs. The next thing is, here's a good phrase. People often overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 5. Removal of limiting beliefs is usually because it's not happening on our agenda. And that's why we keep them, because it's not happening quick enough for us. Know that this is, our timeline doesn't matter. 5 years. Always give yourself 5 years of doing something. And at the end of 5 years, reevaluate. You can change your entire life in 5 years. You can change a lot of things in 1, but not the same way in 5. Who here could become a millionaire in 5? Who here actually thinks, I mean, really thinks it, believes they could be a millionaire in 5 years? It's that limiting belief that would stop us. Even I have that limiting belief now. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to be a millionaire in 5 years. I'm not now, but I don't know if I will be in 5 years. But I can tell you this, I'm going to completely brag about this. I just put down a deposit on a BMW i4, their new electric car. And 10 years ago, if I were to tell you what made someone successful was that BMW, and I never thought in a million years. Keep in mind, I only ever made 30 grand a year prior to real estate. That's it. This car is literally 3+ years of income from what I used to make, right? So that would have been a limiting belief of something I never thought I'd be able to achieve. And I'm not saying that by any means to brag, except I'm completely bragging. I'll completely take you guys up for a ride anytime when I get it. All right, any questions about that? Oh, by the way, that was also number 5. I don't know why it tied into number 4, but that was number 5, the removal of limiting beliefs. One last thing I want to say about that too, though. Limiting beliefs is not ego, but it can be ego, right? There's a difference between living in fantasy and living in reality. And this is why that 5-year plan is so much more critical. And I really want you guys to think about this. If you set goals and be like, well, I'm going to tell you this right now. If you're like, my goal is in January to sell 25 houses. I'm not going to say it can't be done, but I'd say you'd definitely be in an upper echelon of anybody ever in the history of real estate, right? That's kind of more of an ego-driven thing. So make sure that those limiting beliefs, again, I don't know anything in many ways. I've learned things. Here's, again, another one of those fun things. Let's say in this circle is everything I know, okay? Everything I know exists in this circle. Everything I don't know is this outer ring. Just that outer ring is what I don't know in life. Now, all of a sudden, I decide to educate myself. I want to know more. So I have a bigger circle. And now I might know more. But what happens to the area of what I don't know? It only gets bigger. The more you educate yourself, the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know a whole lot, right? So removing that limiting belief mindset is also sometimes going into that unknown without knowing what that outcome is or what it can produce. It's just saying it might just be a really fun, awesome ride. And then we'll figure out what happens in the end. Does that make sense? Hopefully. Okay. Step 6. Accountability. Okay. So accountability is like the number one thing that is going to really help you get through everything. Find accountability partners. Ed already mentioned that he wants a script partner. He can also be an accountability partner. Again, who here wants to be an honest person? Okay. If you turn around and tell somebody, I'm going to get my 20 contacts today or my 10 contacts today, and you don't do it, I do not care the reason. If you do not do it, are you an honest person after you told them you were going to do it? There is nothing that weighs more on the psyche than breaking your word to yourself. Trust me on this. It is brutal. So I highly recommend that keep that word and be honest about it. If you don't think you can do it, then be honest about it, keep your word, and find someone to be accountable to. Any questions about that? All right. Do we want to, it's up to you guys. I don't normally ever take breaks because I think, what time is this supposed to run till? 3? Okay. Do you guys want, oh, sorry, my apologies. Step 4, I accidentally missed through it. I didn't miss it. I just didn't say it. Okay. So step 3 was E to P. Step 4 is not in my booklet. Oh, sorry. We talked about it E to P. Step 4 was becoming learning based, not or learning and foundational based. So step 4 was using that education and becoming learning based to break through that. I apologize. It's been a long time since I've done this. Okay. I think it's only 4 skills. So we have 4 skills left to start off your business before we dive into everything. Okay, so 4 skills. Know your big why and monetary goals. So big why. Big why is your passion. It's why you wake up in the morning. Now, this is different for everybody. But I do want to have an honest conversation I never used to have with people. Okay, so big why is your passion. The next thing you're going to add to it, and then we're going to talk about that big why, is models that you follow around that big why, and then the tasks over time. Okay, this is how we're going to figure out how to set big goals and big whys. Now, I shared with my big why is curiosity. My big why is I have no idea what I'm able to do. I've already exceeded all the things I thought I would do, which honestly wasn't really a whole lot in life. Now I have big goals, but my big why is curiosity about how far I could push this beautiful life. I'm going to ask you what your big whys are. But before I do that, because I hate trapping people in words, a lot of times people pick big whys as something like family. So for example, I'm going to say this, don't nod your head if it's yours, because I'm going to be insulting about it in a minute. Some people are like, my big why are my kids, or my big why are this or that. I want to give a really big cautionary tale. If your big why is your kids and you don't succeed, I want to really challenge why that would be a big why. Like, big whys have to transcend just the things that we think people want to hear or the things that we think we want to feel, right? A big why has to be that motivating factor. A big why, and big whys change. Man, one of my big whys was freedom. My first big why in this industry when I first started out was freedom. I got tired of money being my jailer. It sucks when money is your jailer. I have no problem saying that my big why was owning fancy things, making sure I had no debt, making sure I had a nice house and stuff like that. But it wasn't about those objects and items. It was about money not being my jailer. So I want to challenge you. If kids are a great big why. I have a daughter now. She's a big part of my big why I'm motivated to do anything. When I don't want to do work, I kind of look at her and be like, dang, I guess you probably should eat today at some point. So I better go do my job, right? It can be a motivator, but I want you to go deeper than just saying, as a father or as a mother, it just needs to be my kids because that's the way it should be. Why? What is it that forces you to wake up in the morning for your kids? So now that I kind of went through that, maybe scared some people out of their big whys, Does anybody want to share their big whys?
To be happy, healthy, and busy in 20 years and 30 years and 40 years and 50 years.
Okay, so what does that look like? Like, what does happy look like in 20 years?
Content with family achievements, not having any health problems, financially stable, all that stuff.
Okay, so when life is going down and you just don't feel like getting up, because we all have those moments, or maybe, I don't know if you're anything like me, I drink way too much sometimes, although I haven't most of this
All
year.
the time. It happens.
Yeah, this
It's
year
normal.
I barely even drinking. Anyways, when that time you don't want to get out of bed, is that enough to motivate you to turn around and say, you know what, I do not want to do it. I am afraid to go get those contacts. I don't know if you actually do this. I'm a fear of rejection or whatever's holding me back. That's a big enough why to say, I'm going to go get extremely uncomfortable with life to make that happen.
Yeah, I agree. You pinch yourself and you realize when you're in bed, you spend half an hour just staring at your phone, and half an hour later you realize I haven't done anything for half an hour. So I might as well, I could have worked out, I could have did something else that would be productive, that would work toward, the health and the happiness and the financial freedom.
Mhm. Perfect. Anybody else want to share? If not, I'm going to make you guys do an exercise. Actually, okay, Jim.
Well, if I'm reading this correctly, I think that, oh, sorry, I just lost my train of thought. Oh, you touched earlier on, I need to see things and then I can do it.
Mhm.
So this is great what we're doing, but I like the way you're outlining it. Things like getting 10 contacts and knocking on 10 doors. That's the kind of information we're talking, starting right from the ground floor, that I need to see and watch and learn. It's like scripting. I've never done scripting. I'm looking very forward to discovering all that area. But I'm a great person that watches
Mhm.
everything I've ever done. Golfing, all sports. I've been a big sportsman. I work in the stunt world. If I watch you, I'll learn. And that to me is something that I think this is going to be awesome for.
Awesome.
Yeah. And so once I get my feet on the ground, then I will be able to answer some of these questions a little better. Sure, I'd love to make $500,000 a year, but what I need to do is get my feet wet and see how I feel. There's an uncomfortable level, as you said, about knocking on your first door and making your first cold call. But it's like anything we do in this life. Once you do it a few times, you go, you know what? That wasn't so bad.
Mhm.
So I'm really looking forward to carrying on with all this information.
Awesome. There's something I want to touch on too that you're kind of making me think about. There's a lot of times people don't know their big whys right out the gate. Like when I first got into real estate, I was never challenged in my life with driving goals, why I do things. And I have no problem saying this. If I were to look back now, my big why was really to prove everybody about who I thought wronged me in my life wrong. You know what? This is gonna sound so bad to say. Revenge is a fantastic motivator. And the best revenge you can ever do is to exceed the expectations of all the people that try to beat you down. That was a fantastic big why. It's different now. I've kind of gotten past that point. But the point I'm trying to say is that's kind of the big why that when we talk about this driving force, I don't know if this is actually what you're saying, but like when you're talking about watching golf, for example, my big why when learning how to golf is so I don't look like an idiot. Like that was why I wanted to learn how to golf. Like I still shoot in the 90s, but I shoot well enough. I can keep up with people who shoot in the 60s and 70s, and I don't look too much like an idiot. That was kind of that big driving force why. It's not to play on the PGA Tour. Okay, I want to try an exercise, which because I don't see everybody, I can't force this to be done for everybody, but I want to try something. Okay, everybody has to close their eyes though. The people with the cameras on, I can see if your eyes are open. Ha. Okay, so want to imagine that there's a chair beside you. Okay. And you're sitting there just kind of enjoying the moment, and at the door behind you hear a knock, and you let an individual in, and you're surprised to find out this individual is you. You just walked in, but it's not you today, it's you 5 years from now. Okay, and I want you to picture everything about that person from 5 years. I want you to look at their clothes. What kind of shirt are they wearing? What kind of pants are they wearing? How is their hair done? I want you to look at their posture. One thing that amazes you as you look at this person is you can't believe who you've become. That you can't believe how that posture might be a little bit straighter. That look in the eyes is a little more confident. The shoes that they're wearing are just a little bit nicer. The watch on their wrist. And I want you just to take a moment and look at that person in 5 years and just try to figure out how that confidence is radiating from them, that success is just surrounding them. Okay, that was a quick exercise. Does anybody want to share the person who is sitting beside them? I just want to say something. Nobody has to share. I hate it when people are forced to share.
I pictured myself
Pictured yourself?
sitting with.
I'll share.
Okay.
I saw myself as calm, confident. I'd have shorter hair, be like a blunt cut, and I'd be dressed like, you know, that 60s kind of look. That's what I'd be wearing, like beautiful 60s classy dresses, outfits, driving a beautiful sports car, and enjoying my grandchildren. Time and freedom to enjoy my grandchildren.
What was it like sitting beside that person?
It was good. It was good. It's like I can do that.
When we look at our big goals, the big why, this is an exercise that, and I apologize, I actually completely messed it up. I just realized that after the fact, but this is an exercise that I take myself through is whenever I'm not feeling confident, whenever I'm not feeling like, again, 12 years in, no joking, 6 months ago, I thought I'd never rated another real estate contract. It doesn't get you. We've written like 35, 40 this year, whatever it was. I still feel like I'm not going to write another one sometimes. You will not feel confident at times in this industry, right? And at those times, it's a good exercise. Close your eyes. Imagine you have a new 5-year goal. Imagine that person has now achieved all the goals that you set out to today. And imagine what that person is. Our brain actually does operate under a premise that when we imagine stuff like that, we will automatically move towards it. I'm not going to dive into the neuroscience of it today, but I do study a lot of that neuroscience. Has anybody ever heard that phrase, act as if? The thing that works so well with the act as if concept is when you start to act as if you're something else, you actually become that something else when you act that way long enough. It's the memory, it's like muscle memory of the brain. Okay, so I'm not going to tell you to go out. I'm not telling you to go be a fraud, but I'm telling you, if you want to be more confident, then just start acting more confident in different scenarios. If you want to be more calm, I love calm. Start being more calm in scenarios. And sometimes that means you have to take yourself out of the scenario just to calm down. Train yourself to be that way. Okay. Monetary goals. On your paper in front of you, if you have paper in front of you, I want you to write down a monetary goal that you want to achieve. Okay. I am going to use the goal. It is not my monetary goal, but I'm going to use $200,000 as we go through this exercise.
I assume this is in 1 year.
Yes, sorry, this is a 1-year goal by the end of 2022. Okay. Does anybody know the average sale price in the Newmarket Aurora area right now? Just roughly. Is 800 too low?
1.2,
1.2.
1.2, something like
Jeez,
that.
I am moving my business out of Durham. Okay, if it's 1.2, let's use $1 million as an average sale price because I want to do that math better. Oh, I put $1 million at 2.5%. 2.5% still your average commission that you get paid there, right? On the side. Okay, so that's $25,000. $25,000 for a commission. Okay, so this is what I want you to do. You go A. This is your annual net goal. Oh. So in this case, I use 200K. B. Sorry, just bear with me 1 second here, you guys. You have your market cap. So in our office is 22,000. Now you're going to add A and B together under C. So add. So in my case, it's 22. Whoops. And then you're going to divide it by, or then, sorry, then you're going to put in your average commission and you're going to divide it by your average commission. And in my case, it's going to be, so this is now your annual transactions you need to do. So in my case, it's like 9.8 or something like that. Just, I can't believe it's more. I do want to prep you guys. Real estate was not always like this. The average sale price used to be roughly $500,000. You actually need to do more than 10 deals a year to make $220,000, or $200,000. One thing I'm hoping though, does this help you guys really see how easy it is to hit your goals? Like what's just someone just want to throw out the average number of deals they have to do. Just type them in. 1.2, that is disgusting. Sorry, ours is like 800,000. That's why I'm like, this is ridiculous. 16 to 20, 5. I love that one. Is it Arden? Am I saying that right, Arden?
Yeah,
Danielle,
you are.
6. Perfect. 5, 6 deals. Okay. I want to make a commitment to you guys. If you guys make this commitment back, if you do this in Ignite, if you do everything Ignite says, you will have that in the pipeline by the end of February. I've seen it happen. If you get the contacts, you get the scripts that we start showing out, you will do it. Now, what does that look like? So skill number 1 is know your monetary goal. Skill number 2 is lead gen daily. Okay. So what the heck? Okay, so if I see what it's doing now. Sorry, I have a little guide in front of me which I haven't used in years. If you worked a factory job, this is what your day would look like. You'd have step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4 equals pay. Okay. This is where real estate is a little different, but not too terribly different. You have lead gen. So this is whatever time, appointments, agreements, contracts, close, 90 days. Okay. It's just that time that you put into it is the only part that changes. You're not looking at a daily, you're looking at 90 days down the way. So Doo-doo-doo-da-da. As a funnel, because I'm a more of a visual, you're going to need 1, 2, 3. Okay. So again, your leads. Your leads is number one. Your leads drive your business completely. Now, if you had a choice between buyer or seller leads, what do you think you would choose?
Seller.
Seller. Why would you choose seller?
You have more people working for you to complete that task of selling the home.
Mhm. Sellers also generate more leads, right? So sellers will generate through door knocking, through sign calls and all the rest, more leads. Buyers do not do that. I'm not saying don't focus on buyers, definitely get buyers. But so when you look at your lead generation, you want your lead generation to really focus on a seller portion of it. Now, just quickly, what's a great way to get a buyer lead? What do you think? Just give me 1 or 2 great ways, lead generation sources that would you think would be buyer heavy?
Open house.
Open house, 1, because they are coming there literally to buy a house. What about number 2? What's another one that are usually very buyer heavy? We haven't talked about it yet today. All right.
Upgrading.
Upgrading though is nice though, because you get the seller attached to it.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking more like just generating a buy side that doesn't have a sell attached.
Right.
Internet leads. Internet
Hmm.
is one of the best ways, because before people even think about selling their house, they usually go on the internet and start looking for houses. So usually the 2 ways that we like to lead generate are buyer-based leads. Now, what are some seller-based leads? Give me 2 ways that you can generate more sellers than buyers. Come on. Door knocking. Yep,
Door
perfect.
knocking.
Thank you, Sarah. And what's the other one?
Cold calls.
Cold calls. The 2 that everybody just love. Okay. I just want you guys, as you think about your form of lead generation, door knocking works really well. We have a few great door knockers in our area. It is definitely far better. The average, I don't know what the actual stats are on door knocking. I can tell you on cold calling though, that it takes, it's roughly 0.5%. So 1 out of every 200 contacts that you make cold calling will generate into a listing. More importantly though, when it comes to lead gen, there's 2 types. There's quick and long-term. Okay, so when you're cold call or door knocking or open housing to a degree, and maybe sometimes internet, you might get actually, I won't even say that, but you sometimes get very lucky. First things first, these are quick ways of lead generation. Someone comes into an open house, they are actively looking for places right now. So this is open house can change your entire business in a weekend. And I had it happen. I remember one time going like 2 months without a deal and getting 4 from an open house in 1 weekend. It was phenomenal. I talk about lifting your spirits. Cold calling and door knocking, you will sometimes catch people under long term, but maybe you get lucky and you catch people pretty right away, right? But those ones are kind of more adding to the database. You're adding them from the door knock lead into the database and into the follow-up system. Internet leads are the same thing. Sometimes you get people who are quicker, but you are taking them at the very beginning of the process, which is roughly a 6-month process, give or take, by the time they actually purchase a house. So it's anywhere from 6 months to 18 months usually, okay? Then you have other long-term ones, like whoever thought about farming an area? Okay, farming an area is typically spending money for a full year before you see a single result on average. Now, you can double this up. If you want to farm an area, this is how I recommend you do it. First of all, you don't just do mailers. In-person contact is far better. You want to actually get the foot traffic. So you turn it into a real farm. You door knock the area twice a month and you door knock the entire area while doing that with your mailers. And you might see a 3 to 6 month turnaround time. Super quickly, if you are going to start door knocking, I tell everybody this part because it is absolutely the best part. Door knock townhomes or condos or new developments. Okay, here's the reason why. Number one, Townhouses. Townhouses 2 years ago were not, nobody ever woke up one day and been like, when I grow up, I want to live in a townhouse. I want it to be in a subpar area around shopping malls, and I want high condo fees. That would just be the life for me. People buy townhouses because that's how they could break into the housing market. They don't want to be there. Number one. Number two, that maintenance fee, which is now roughly anywhere between $400, $500, $600 a month, every $50 a month is an extra $10,000 on mortgage, roughly. That's actually a little bit better than that now, I think, with where rates are. So that means that's an extra $50,000 to $100,000 they might be paying in maintenance fees alone just on there, which means that would actually put them into the bracket of a semi-detached home, right? So you're going to see high turnaround. The other thing too is you're going to get a crap ton of buyer leads off of it because it's a cheap piece of property by comparison that's out there. Townhouses, townhouses, townhouses. If I were to start a new real estate career, I would just door knock townhouses, or I would door knock new builds that just finished, right? And those builds that just finished is for two reasons why. Number one, there's not a lot of active realtors in that area who already have a name for themselves. It's a brand new area. Everybody's fighting for the same spot. Number two, 25% of new build inventory typically flips in the first 5 years between people who don't like the size, who don't like anything. And when I door knock the house, this is literally my script, and I will email this copy out if anybody wants it. I just say, hi, my name is Nathan from KWRC. Hey, listen, I know you just moved in because your house literally just closed like a month ago. So right now you probably have one of two questions. Number one, how am I going to update my kitchen? Or number two, I need a bigger house because this wasn't what I thought it was. So I'm curious, do you need a kitchen contractor or a realtor? And you will be amazed how many times people will laugh and answer that question, because that is actually the conversation they just had. Because do you think people just spent an extra $15,000 on all their kitchen upgrades from the builder? Probably not. And the builder can change plans, so it's not always exact, and they didn't get to see it before they moved in, so they may not even like it, right? 25%. So very quickly, now the goal of all these things is to put them into your database. If you remember Pac-Man, the old school one, Pac-Man is your database, and leads are these little things. Now, again, very quick numbers. You'll get 1 out of every 10 people in the database on a proper touch will do business. 1 deal out of every 10 people. Now, this is where we talk about things like 33 touches. You are going to be going through, by the way, we are going to be going through all this in depth through Ignite. So I'm just giving you the outline of it. If you're properly touching on people 33 times in a year, which is like, say, 4 to 8 phone calls, emails, client events, birthday wishes, anniversary, whatever that looks like, newsletters, making yourself top of mind, you will get 1 out of every 10. It used to be 2 out of 10 or 8 in the MRA, but now it's about 1 out of 10 will either do business with you or refer you business. So who here had a goal to do 24 deals, 2 deals a month? Does anybody have a goal around there? Okay, so if it's 1 out of every 10 people who will do a database with a proper drip system, how many people do you need in your database to do 24 deals? It's funny, as realtors, I can tell you what 2.5% is of almost any number out there, but math is hard. I think I'm going to mess this up, but I think it's only 240. So you lead generate and get 240 people into your database that you're constantly touching on all the time. These are those leads. So you're getting 20 contacts a week or 20 contacts a day, 100 a week, 7 to 8 leads, 7 to 8 people going in, good solid leads. You're pretty much every 7 days, 7 business days, you're getting a new deal as you put them into your database. Who here in 10 years still wants to be cold calling and door knocking? Really, I'm shocked. This is how you do it. In your first few years of business, you're only as good as your last deal. That's it. If it stops, it stops. You want to keep feeding your database and properly running your database, because that is how in 10 years you get referral-based businesses that are not going to happen and generate now. Okay, that's how you expand to bigger teams. That's when you start leveraging out the work to your buyer's agents and you deal with the referral side. This is where growth comes from. You don't have to go that route if you don't want to. You just have a model that allows you to go there. Any questions on that? Okay, one last part to it. 3 pillars. You're going to hear this talked about, maybe not, because they've changed it a lot. 3 pillars of lead generation. The 3 pillars are going to be things like open houses might be a pillar, door knocking might be a pillar. All these things are pillars of lead generation. Again, the reason why you have 3 pillars of lead generation is because right now we can't do open houses. That is how I built my career. Thankfully, COVID did not happen in 2011. Otherwise, I might have been done, right? You need all these ones to come in. Now, people are going to be like, well, my network is one of my pillars. Yes, everybody's network should be one of their pillars, but that is also a long-term game. Remember, your network of friends knew you when you were not good. Like, as I'm still going to say I'm young, but I was 26 when I got in the industry. My network of friends saw me drunk, saw me stupid, probably saw me like I was just an idiot when I was a kid. I was not a very nice person. My family, remember when I told you I had a lot of limiting beliefs and I was very egotistical? That is still how half my family sees me, right? It takes a long time to convert those opinions of people, right? So that is one reason why your social network, it's a good place to be, but it takes time. So that cannot be your only pillar, right? By the way, that is also why, even if you're not doing business, you need to preview homes and you need to know your stats of what's going on in your neighborhood, right? I can tell you right now that in Bowmanville, for the first time ever, the average sale price was over $1 million in the month of December, Christmas month. The average sale price went from 800 to over $1 million. Now, when you know these stats, that person who remembers that I was completely hammered at the bar acting like an idiot doesn't really care when I told him his house is now worth over $1 million and I can go back and prove it, right? You are a professional, learn these things. Quick side note, by the way, if you are a partier as a professional, be careful where you do it. One brokerage I worked for did have a reputation at a few bars for being that sort of way, and it actually lost them lots of money. So I now have a philosophy: if you're going to drink heavily, drink around other realtors because they're not buying a house from you anyways. Okay, any questions about that? All right, I want to talk about my favorite part because the last part of this is about abiding by a calendar, which is super easy. But I want to talk about my favorite part. We're going to start talking about scripting. I want honest answers. Who here likes the concept of, does not like the concept of scripting? And what I mean by that is a lot of people are like, it's manipulation and blah, 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 blah. Is there anybody who honestly feels that way? Because I did.
So I'll comment on that. I used to be against it in the sense that was calling you and you're listening to a canned approach. You know, it seems, you know, very, it seems fake. So you don't put that much attention to it. But now that I've, you know, been practicing a little bit, and I've been doing the role plays with, you know, our peers in the group, I realized that it's actually not that. I mean, you bring your own emotions and pizzazz to it, but you know what to say and how to object. If somebody asks you for cutting their commission, you know how to respond, right? And if I get a question from somebody, I have no idea how to answer it. So at least I have a framework of, you know, which way I'm gonna, you know, go about dealing with it. And that's where the scripts help. I don't think it's personally, I don't feel the need to go word by word on the script, but I know, you know, in a nutshell, what I need to convey to the other person. And that's why I feel that these scripts are very helpful.
Cool. I love it because that is what so many people say. And I definitely said that at one point, 100% as well. And I agree. So first and foremost, I'm going to teach you a few different tactics that will allow you to completely manipulate your husbands, your kids, your wives, people around you, maybe even your dog and all the rest. There are some very good tactics that we use, but more importantly, we're not using it for that purpose. We are using it for the purpose of guiding people. Okay. Guiding people. You have a buyer, number one, or a seller that is completely freaked out about a process. If you do not know how to properly convey that process and deal with their fears, then you're just going to have a more freaked out buyer or seller, right? Number two, I do have another philosophy. Has anybody ever ran into a bad realtor or heard about a bad realtor? Maybe screwed a few people out of a whole bunch of money. You know whose fault that is? Ours. Not that realtor's, not that person's. I see that as our fault. Because at the time, maybe I ran into that person and I didn't know the script to help them work with a good realtor, because I'm not going to do with that person. I'm not going to take advantage of them. If I don't do my lead gen, then I'm leaving them out to the wolves. I'm not trying to sound egotistical when I say this, but I'm pretty damn good and I look out for a lot of people. I am not going to screw them. So if I don't get in front of as many people as I can, then I'm kind of screwing all those people, right? And leaving them out there to potentially have a bad realtor. So that is the whole purpose to scripts. Some other purpose of scripts are just to help them see things your way. So in the average communication, only 80%, like if you were like the best communicator in the world, and I mean like the best, when you try to convey a point to somebody, you are lucky if they actually understand 80% of what you're saying and how you mean it. Because when you have people, like you have this like lens of ideas in your head and you intake information and then it goes through all these life experiences that you've had before in your life. And then it comes up with a conclusion, and that's different for everybody because everybody has different experiences in life. So scripting helps convey that very clearly. Now, there's a few things that have to go on with scripting before you just dive into it. So we're going to talk about a little bit about the language of sales. The first and foremost, we're going to talk about the mirror match game. When you are actually dealing with someone, you want to mirror match exactly how they are. And now this is a way of kind of getting into their mindset of what's going on and relieving uncomfortability. And I'm going to give you guys an example because I talk fast, and I apologize for anybody who talks fast. Or talk slow because I'm probably not talking too quick. But anyways, has anybody ever been into a really busy Tim Hortons? Put up your hand. You've been in, like in Tim Hortons when it's been super busy. Okay. And then like everybody behind the counter is like running around like mice. Like it's so crazy and hectic and the lineup is so long. And they're like, okay, what do you want next? What do you want next? What do you want next? And it finally comes to you and they look at you and go, what do you want next? And you go, you know, maybe I'll try. What's good here? Okay. How many people by a show of hands want to punch me in the face right now? Be honest.
Yeah.
How many people
sure.
just got this like weird, uncomfortable feeling in their stomach? It's odd. How many times do you think this actually happens with our clients when we're not acting like them? When you feel that feeling, is because you or them are out of sync with one another. Okay. When you are in sync, you do not feel that way. When you're out of sync, you definitely feel that way. Now, I want you guys to think about this in the negative sense. When you think of a fast talker, tell me what you think about when you hear of a fast talker. Just throw out some objective, like some jobs that fast talkers are tied with.
Rapper.
That's a new one. I've never heard rapper. I love it. Used car salesman. That's one we get a lot. I like that rapper one. All right. Sales. Sorry, Linda? Auctioneer. Okay. Telemarketer. Okay. So these are all sales things. Now, I want you to dig into your deeper mean side when you say this. What about people who talk really slow? I mean, like really slow. What do you think about those people, or what are some attributes that you would typically assign to those people? And I mean, really slow. Slow, boring.
I had a guy that worked for me. I have a small property maintenance business, and it was probably, I can't explain how it felt. It was very frustrating because he'd ask me a question that should have taken 15 seconds and it'd be a 5-minute conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's just the way I guess it's just the way he is, but
Yep.
a number of emotions go through, you know, throwing words in their mouth sort of thing.
And sorry to cut you off, but it kind of gets to that point that it's not usually positive words that you'd put out for that either.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to recap
It's
some
like
of
the
these.
guy in Tim's. That is so perfect. Been there so
Yeah.
many times.
So slow talkers are boring, not confident, priests apparently, unintelligible, getting to the point, unintelligent. Yeah, too much time on their hands. Okay, so there's a reason why I'm doing this. I want you guys to think about something. That means if you are talking to somebody who is speaking slower than you speak, which happens a lot to me, it probably means they think I'm trying to sell them something. And if I run into somebody who is speaking faster than I do, they probably think I'm dumb. So when it comes to the mirror match game, this is why it is so important to mirror match. Okay. People like to deal with people that are like them. Right. So tone of rate of voice, loudness of voice, right? These are things that you want to mirror match. Now, here's the good news. When you mirror match with someone and you become in sync, you actually take leadership over their mind share. And they will start to mimic you. And that's an indicator that you are actually becoming in sync and in connection. Okay. So you slow down your speech if they're slower, or you speed up your speech if they're faster. If they have any mannerisms that they're doing, like I'm going to pick on Nicole for a quick second because I just saw her in the video. She was kind of like this. So if I was actually chatting with her one-on-one, I would mirror match her actual body language. Right? If they're sitting back with their arms crossed, I would lean back with my arms crossed. Now, it's funny that priest comment, just so you know, my dad's a minister, my mom's a nurse. Here's another mirror match thing. I don't know how comfortable people are with cursing. And I'm not saying that if you curse a lot, but I can tell you this, when somebody curses and they don't know that, they don't hear you curse, there's an uncomfortability with that, right? So I'm not saying if they're dropping the F-bomb every second time, you have to go nuts with it, right? But I am turning around saying that maybe you do throw down like, yeah, no, I agree, that's complete bullshit. You just throw something out there to create a level of comfortability and connection and then get back into sync. You don't have to carry on with it, right? Now, again, when you are in sync, you're going to see a few things. One, they'll start to match you in your language. Two, if you're at a table and you take a drink, within 45 seconds, they will take a drink, right? Funny enough, Nicole just took a drink and Leslie just took one right afterwards. Interesting little observation. So you'll start to see these things in sync. When you start to get that uncomfortable feeling in your stomach that you had in the Tim Hortons example, or you start to feel like they're talking slower or faster than you, it means you're drifting out of sync and you just go back to mirror matching them. Okay. All right. So that's number one. That's called being in rapport. That's the word I've been looking for this whole time. Connection, rapport, everything else. Okay, now you're in rapport. Now you can do what's called embedded commands. This is where you are not going to use your newfound skill for villainy, for manipulation, or tactics. Embedded commands work directly into the psyche. They're basically commands to get that you can never convince someone to do something you don't want to do, but you can definitely get them that if they are going to do something, to choose you. Okay, and I want to give you an example of this. Back in the 40s, 50s, you may have seen this or heard about this story. Movie theaters wanted to increase the sales of popcorn, right? So what movie theaters did is they started splicing images of popcorn into the movie. Now, your eyes can only see roughly, I think it's 30 frame rates a second. And they would splice it in so you couldn't even see it. Like it would slice in it. You wouldn't even know that it was in there. Popcorn sales rose over 80% when they started doing that. And then they realized that's illegal and manipulation and horrible. So now they're not allowed to do it. Embedded commands operate in the same way. The way an embedded command works is when you're in rapport, you're going to embed something in their mind that's going to draw them more towards using you or using a process. So this is a very specific system, though, that has to be followed. Let me just connect this back in 1 second. And by the way, you guys are going to hate the way I've been speaking it to you guys after I show you this, because you'll be like, dang, you've been using that the whole time? That's not very nice. Okay, so an embedded command is a command that's put into a statement. So for example, when you list with me, then I'll be able to start the whole marketing process. If you listen now, then I'll be able to show you how to do it. The embedded commands I'm giving you are list with me, listen now, things like this, right? The command has to be a standalone statement. So if I said list with me, that statement works on its own. But if I just said, I don't know, I can't even think of an example. If it doesn't work as a standalone statement, though, it won't work as an embedded command. So when I say listen to me, when I say when you buy now, right? Or when you accept this offer, or when you sign back, right? Those are all embedded commands. So to kind of back up, or when you make a decision, they're going to be in the middle of a sentence. There's going to be a short delay You're going to use the embedded command in a heavier, deeper tone than everything else you've been speaking. And then you're going to go back and keep talking. Okay. So as an example, I would say, oh, hold on 1 second here. Yeah, we can still see that. When we ... dot's the delay, work together, downward angle, ... You will see, this is so corny. I would never say this. Okay, so when we work together, you will see it was meant to be, right? Let's just say you're in an appointment and this is what you want to turn around and tell someone. So I'm going to completely exaggerate this. I would say, okay, Jim, when we work together, you will see it was meant to be that we just start working together. Okay. Now I've been doing this the whole time. Whenever I actually wanted you guys to like write something down, this is how I've been saying it. And you haven't even been noticing that I've been doing this the entire time. But I'm apparently and allegedly have most of your captivation anyways. That is the way embedded commands work. Okay. This is the high level of scripting I want you guys to take this to. Yeah, subliminal messaging. Love it. This is, again, you're not going to talk anybody into doing something they don't want to do. It's not like I can go to the bar and start picking up women who, just because I use an embedded command and got into rapport with them, if they don't want to do something like that. They have to have a willingness. So when you're actually meeting on a listing appointment, there are things, so when you're coming up to objection handlers, this would be a perfect example. So would you list with me if I was able to handle that objection? If commission was an issue, would you list with me tonight? Question mark, right? That's going to operate either a yes or a no. And where that's going to be really good, by the way, is you want to make sure before you handle any objections, you know all the objections that are coming out. So if they say no, you go, great, let's figure out more objections. If they say yes, then you go on and handle the objection. Does that make sense? Okay. There's a great course. If you want to invest, I think it's like $300 into yourself. It's called The Language of Sales. I want to highly, highly recommend that course. Why isn't it turning on? It is a phenomenal course that'll take you through scripting top to bottom. Number two, I know it's really disgusting listening to politicians as it is, but go listen to a politician and see how much they actually use embedded commands in their statements. It'll absolutely be disgusting, but hilarious at the same time. Last part to this, before I actually carry on to the very last part, and I wish I could really dive into this so much more. Memorize the scripts. I cannot stress this enough. You are running a script, whether you like it or not. It's not like you're going to go door knocking and you're going to be like, okay, you're going to get to the door. And you're going to be like, okay, I want to clear my head of all knowledge, all experiences I've ever had. And I'm just going to turn around and say whatever comes out of my mouth. You are running a script. And again, it's not working, right? It's not a good script. You either don't have the experience or the timing or anything. You want to memorize scripts. Now, eventually where it gets into is scripts I memorize, I actually still use most of them word for word. I just throw them differently into conversations, right? I'll give you an example. This is my open house script. If you ask me to say this 4 times, no, it's not going to be exactly 4 times, but it's going to be pretty dang close each time. I finished showing somebody around an open house and I will always turn around and say, Regine's on this call, so she knows this one, I think. Anyways, I'll always turn around and say, okay, great, Leslie, because you're on the screen beside me, I'm going to say your name. Leslie, is this how you're looking for homes? You're just going to open houses? And you'd be like, yeah, pretty much. And I'd say, great. So do you have anybody who's currently helping you find homes? And you like me now, so you'll be honest and you'll say no, or you'll say yes. And I'll be like, okay, great. So you signed a contract with them. And then you're like, okay, I'm going to be honest now. I'm going to say no, right? And I'm going to say, fantastic, Leslie. Well, the good news is from this point going forward, every realtor you meet is going to apply for the job of being your realtor. And I want to as well. Now, I operate a little differently. I'm going to take you out to see 1 or 2 homes, and this is my interview process. And at the end of the interview process, I'm going to ask you if I got the job. And you know what? If I got the job, awesome. We're going to work together and it's going to be amazing. If not, that is 100% okay. Worst case scenario, you just have a bit of education about what to look for in houses. How does that sound?
That sounds awesome.
That is almost it. Now, let me ask you, does anybody hear that and be like, wow, that sounds like me? I connected well with that script. Dude, when I first read this script, I thought it was like weird. Apply for the job of being your realtor. Sorry, I interrupted someone.
I've heard Michael Tuff do that script, and it's amazing.
Perfect. Guess what? He got it from the KW book. That's where I got it from. Right? This is why you memorize scripts word for word. Now, there's some things you can't memorize. When you're trying to do a discovery of what a client's looking for, there's no script for that because every client's different. But this is the script. All those questions you ask, right? All that discovery is going to be the exact same portion of a script. It's just that you have to be more fluid, and then you have that close. Okay. Another great script, just very quickly, I used it just the other day when it came to a commission issue. Someone turned around and said, oh, hey, listen, I don't want to pay 5 or 6%. In my case, it's 5. I used to charge 6 all the time. I don't want to pay 5%. Can you do it for 4? And I say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I completely appreciate that you want to save money just like anybody else. But let me ask you, if all of a sudden this commission issue is out of the way, would you list with me tonight? And they'd be like, yeah, for sure. I say, okay, great. Well, I want to quickly share with you, you can definitely find someone who can do it cheaper. As a matter of fact, if you find one of those people, I highly recommend you just sell on your own because you'll probably have the same level of service. And let me tell you why. Because my commission is going to go to 3 parts. 1, I have to pay my brokerage. I have to pay all my fees, right? I also have to pay taxes and I have to pay everything else. 2, I need to make a living. As much as I'd love to do this for free, I still have to make a living. And number 2, I have to market your house. Sorry, I just messed that up. Number 2, I have to market your house. I have to put it online. I have to do the photography. I have to do everything around it. We have to get the coming students, a whole lot that goes into that. And number 3, I have to make a living. I have to feed my family and I have to feed my kids. Now, let me ask you, out of those 3, which one do you want me to give up? And then it's going to be uncomfortable. And I'm going to say, listen, I'll stop the uncomfortableness for you. Usually you let them talk, but I'll usually interrupt because it's that uncomfortable. And I'll say, listen, when you talk to someone who discounts, they still have to pay their brokerage and they're still making a living and feeding their family. So the only place that it comes out of is marketing your house. And I made a decision a long time ago in my career. I am not going to cut you short just to save a little bit of money or to earn a listing off the top end. I'd rather do a good job for you. How does that sound? That's almost verbatim, like over and over and over. If we have this conversation in 6 months, you're going to be like, wow, that was like pretty much the exact same thing. Can you share that script with us? Are you talking about the apply for the job one or the one where I like guilt them into making me feed my family? Okay. So this will be recorded, but what I will do, again, I have one more thing to talk about. I don't know if you guys know what Discord is. If you don't, I highly, highly recommend you get Discord. It's a community-based program that works on your computer or your phone or anything else like that. It's still very, very new, and I'm starting it up and I'm putting a bunch of scripts on there, and it's a community where you can ask any questions. So if I can, whoops, I don't want to do that. I was linking to everyone. There, that is the link. If you guys want to join the Discord server, we also, Stevie and I do a podcast on there. If you ask a question or need a script, I'll gladly record a script and throw it on there. By the way, if you actually ask a script though that there's no real answer for, I'll just tell you that as well. When someone's like, oh, I have a friend in family industry, how do I deal with that objection? I'm like, you don't. If my parents didn't use me and some realtor tried to convince them not to use me, I'd punch that guy in the face. So just keep that in mind. Okay, very last, because we have very, very few minutes left. Before I carry on, because the last part's not as important, I know we only have like 2-3 minutes. Does anybody have any other questions about scripting? And Tanaz, by the way, can help you set up on the Discord server. Okay, I'm going to try find all the PDFs and put them on there for that. Yeah, and then anybody who joins right now onto the Discord, I see Michael, thank you very much for joining. I will give you access to be able to see all of it. Okay, so the last skill number 4, skill number 3 is scripting. Skill number 4 is be accountable to your big why, be accountable to your schedule. Okay, you have to live by a schedule. I am not a very organized person. And by the way, I want to be very clear on this. There's a lot of people who will tell you that you need to work 9 to 12 to do your lead generation. And while you're in Ignite, you 100% do need to work from 9 to 12 for your lead generation. But after that, I am not a morning person, man. I don't even know how I got this TL job because I hate mornings. I have to be in the office at like 8 o'clock. Like, did you know there's an 8 a.m.? It sucks. Having said that, remember, know your weaknesses. One of my biggest weaknesses was scheduling. So I started my lead gen at noon or at 11 or at 1. I still stuck to that 3-hour schedule of lead generation. I still stuck to my appointments in the evening, right? So you have to create a schedule, and the schedule is going to go very simply from 9:30 to 12 to begin with. That is your lead generation time. 12 to 1 is your lunch. 1 to 3 is your follow-up, and everything after that are appointments. Okay, stick to that schedule. If you, again, you are your own boss. This is 100% completely in your control. You either do it or you don't, and there's no one else to blame. Now, I want to ask you a question. If it's 10:30, right smack dab in the middle of your lead generation time, and you get an email from a client saying, hey, listen, my $2 million property that we talked about 6 months ago, I need you here in an hour. I need it on the market right away. If you can't be here in an hour, I'm going somewhere else. Who's going to that appointment? 1, probably 2, 3. Yeah. Nilu, you're on mute right now, but I can see you're going to go to the appointment. Okay. The question isn't really actually, are you going to go to the appointment or not? The question I'm going to ask you is, why are you not protecting your lead gen time and shutting off your email? It is not the time for email, Facebook, or anything like that. Like this is where realtors will succeed or fail. 100% is when it comes to this. Protect your lead gen time. If you have kids, kick them out of the room. Just say, no, daddy or mommy is busy right now. I love my daughter dearly. I will finish what I'm doing. Okay. One other quick thing. Here's your energy level. By the way, I apologize. I might go 5-10 minutes over. I hope that's okay. If you need to leave, I fully understand. Okay. So you break it down. You have 3 hours of lead gen a day. Your energy level starts high and it starts to go down as your lead generation, right? There's like so many studies around this. And then you kind of hit this point, but when the last half hour, it oops, what the heck happened there? Sorry. It'll burst back up. Okay. There's this weird stat when it comes to marathons. More people drop out at the 80% mark than at the 90% or 95% mark. The second they can see the finish line, no matter how far it is, they can push forward and go. And that's why you see this energy. So I'm going to highly recommend you take breaks, right? You either go down. So 3 hours of lead gen, you should usually do your 20 contacts. You call, break. Call, break. Call, break. Okay. It's a great way of doing it. So going back to the conversation with my daughter, if I have to lead gen from home, I protect that hour. But once I get my contacts and I'm like 10 minutes away from my break, then I put down my headset and I go tickle her. I chase her around the house. I don't know. She's Asian and get her to do my taxes, whatever. I do all these things with my daughter. And then I get right back to my lead gen and protect that time again. Okay. The reason why I say this, it has to do with the way willpower acts. Take your breaks, protect that time. If you don't, you will only have a transactional based business, right? Where the heck did I put it? So I can quickly go to this here. This model is when somebody doesn't protect their time because they lead gen up. They stop lead generating because now they're so busy with appointments and everything else. And remember, 3 years in advance or 3 months in advance, that's what you're lead generating for. So they stop for lead gen for a month or two because there's so many clients and so busy. And then it drops right down and you're starting right back from square one. Where if you protect that time, it's going to be a lot more even throughout. Okay. If you do those 4 things, so to wrap it up, what are those 4 things? I gotta go back. If you know your big whys, you know your big drive. That's skill number 1. And make that top of mind. Know your monetary goals. Run this like a business. If you commit to your lead generation daily, so in Ignite, it's 10 contacts. I just want to not beat around the bush. Do 20 contacts a day. 20 contacts a day literally takes me 2 hours if I need to get it done. 2 hours to make $500,000 a day. 3, learn your scripts inside and out. Engage with other people. I will post those script books on the Discord. I'll also do it on the Facebook for people who don't want to join Discord. Learn your scripts inside and out. And protect your time, protect your schedule, protect this Ignite, protect this education time, protect your lead gen time, and your goals will look fleeting. Haley MacArthur, if you want to get a chance, go to our Red Shoe chair interviews. Listen to the one with Haley MacArthur, who in her first year had to change her goal 3 times. because she kept achieving her goal way too early. And it's just following these systems. Okay, so, man, that was a lot of talking. Any questions? Like, I know some people have to go. I apologize that some of this is rushed through. I kind of wish these were back to 3-hour courses instead of 2, but it is what it is. So are there any outstanding questions? Anything anybody wants to ask?
I have one actually.
Okay.
Earlier you were talking about how are the Ignite courses, like, are they sent out individually and we have to register for them individually, or is there one link that we can register for so we can consistently just be enrolled in them?
I believe it's just one link, and I believe it's the one we're on today. So
Okay.
we'll be posting on the Facebook group any little changes. Oh, let me stop sharing this because that's probably like super annoying.
Okay.
We'll be posting, like, if there any are small changes to the server or something like that, we'll post on there. Or if I'm wrong, I'll post on there, which happens more often than not. That I'm wrong, that is. But if not, I believe it should be the same link. And I believe the next class is Monday.
So is it Monday and Thursdays then? or
Monday,
is it-
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
for 3 weeks. Yeah. It'll be like drinking through a fire hose, by the way. I'm just going to prep you guys right now. You will forget more than you'll learn. I do, like, we're going to be teaching this 4 times a year. I do recommend taking it a second time just to get it down. So I'm going to have to double check on that time. I believe 9 to 11 is okay. So you're going to be on this Discord or on this Zoom from 9 to 11, and that's going to be the lead generation time. So starting Monday morning at 9 a.m., come prepped, ready for work, ready for lead generation. If you're making calls to your database, the database you've been adding on to, or whatever case may be, that's how we're going to start. Okay. And then 1 to 3 is the actual class. We definitely want to get you really into the habit of lead generation. You're going to see that pushed really hard.
Just to,
Yeah.
one more quickie, the Discord server, where do I find that again?
So it's in the chat. Let's see. There, I just put the link in the chat.
Okay,
Did anybody not have it? Like, does that automatically get you to download the program?
I can see it there now.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so you just download Discord and that should put you right into the program.
Okay, I see. I'm still getting used to the the little icons on the bottom. I got it now. I've got it up on the screen here.
Yeah, I'm just anybody who actually just joined. I'm just upgrading you to member. We're gonna have different roles that go into this. So okay, this is going to take long. Well, if anybody has questions while I'm just updating everybody to the member status so they can see everything.
Yeah, I have a quick question. It's just about Monday's Zoom. So are we coming on like a Zoom call like this from 9 to 11 and then back at 1?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe it'll be this link. And I think that's going to be with, I have no idea who's even teaching the next class, but I think it's going to be with whoever is teaching the next class will be hosting the lead generation part.
Okay. Just because my team meetings are in the morning from 8:30 to 9:30, so.
Oh, I guess we'll have to allow you to actually have to abide by your teams.
I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah. Also, by the way, thank you for bringing something up real quick. So this is the only class I think I'll be teaching unless someone ducks out. But please, if you guys ever have questions, I've been on 2 teams. I've ran my own team. I've been an individual agent. I'm that kind of idiot that accidentally put new roof in his listing instead of putting newer roof and nearly had to buy a new roof. I pretty much made every mistake that you could potentially think about. You can run anything past me. My door is always open. Unfortunately, I just occasionally have meetings and stuff like that. But if you shoot me a message, I'll put my cell. And then that's my cell and my email in there. Please just reach me at any time. And we can sit down for half an hour talk. Like teams have a lot of great value to them. If that's a way you're thinking about going, if it's not, that's cool. If we talk about something today that you want more explanation on, you don't think about it till like 2 a.m, just shoot a message. I will not answer, but just shoot a message and I'll get back to you when I can. So.
Thanks for all your
right.
help today, Nathan.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, going once, going twice. All right, you're free to go. Have fun. Hopefully you guys, hopefully hear from you soon.
Thanks, Nate.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank
See you
you.
later.